We welcome you to the National Sports Center Stadium in Blaine, Minnesota. It is match week 10 in MLS Next Pro this afternoon as Minnesota United FC2 take on Tacoma Defiance in a Western Conference showdown. Sean St. Jacques, our entire crew, thrilled to have you with us here in Minnesota today, kicking off a really impressive day of fixtures in MLS Next Pro throughout the day. Minnesota and Tacoma are certainly two teams trying to move up the Western Conference table, and we will see who will get the edge at the end of this afternoon's action. Here is that Western Conference table. Minnesota with a win can move up at least one place today. On the other side of the coin for Tacoma Defiance, similar position for them. A win and help elsewhere will help them move up higher in the Western Conference table, and both teams are hoping that a victory could sort of, in some ways, get them back on track. Minnesota, coming off a 1-0 win over Ventura County, have this 11 under coach Jeremy Hall. It's led by the attack. Darius Randall and Patrick Weah are going to be critical cogs up top. Rory O'Driscoll and Alejandro Brand critical in the midfield, but it's the leader, Zarek Valentin, who gets the captain's armband in that back three, and Clint Irwin in goal. Two critical cogs to Minnesota's recent success. Valentin and Irwin, Coach Hall telling us, have been very, very important to the Minnesota win last time out. Arvidice's Tacoma Defiance 11 looks like this. Osaze Di Rosario leads the line up top, and it's a really impressive midfield. Yus Okonome, Faisal Batache, and Frank DeRoma all will be important. Travion Souza and Blake Bowen critical in that back four. Jacob Castro gets the start between the sticks. Tacoma trying to bounce back after a tough loss to Timbers 2 just over a week ago. Elvis Osmanovic is our head official, and we are just moments away from kickoff. It's the first meeting of this season between these two. These two combatants have not met since August of last season. And again, Minnesota just got a critical victory over Ventura County last time out a week ago. Loic Masanvi getting the winner in stoppage time. He begins this afternoon's proceedings on the bench, so Jeremy Hall keeps him in his back pocket. As far as Arvidice's group, they're hoping that they can rebound after a tough first half end result against Portland Timbers 2. Never good for them to lose to Portland. They're hoping that they can make amends this afternoon. Minnesota in particular trying to turn this one win into a winning streak, which could potentially help them propel themselves back up the table and back into the playoff picture. Tacoma, as we've come to expect from them over these last two seasons plus, they're always in the mix. They're in sixth coming into today's action. They can improve on that if they can win and get a little bit of help later on tonight. Tacoma Defiance are going to kick us off. They're in their white kits from head to toe with the light blue socks, and off we go from Minnesota. It is Minnesota United FC2 in their home blacks with the blue and the white trim. And they're going to get a chance here inside of a minute, and the shot is blazed wide by Darius Randall. Well, a bit of a rocky start for Defiance, and inside of 20 seconds, Jeremy Hall's group, I should say, nearly score the opening goal. A miscue at the back from Brian Aguilar, and the shot is sent wide of the target by Darius Randall. Well, gives us a good opportunity to tell you that both coaches, when we caught up with them earlier in the week, didn't mince any words. Both were going to be aggressive. Both were going to go after each other. Jeremy Hall's words, he said, we're going to try and punch Tacoma in the face at the start of the match. They nearly did. And Tacoma are trying to rebound after a little bit of a up and down beginning in the opening 20 seconds. Referee blows his whistle. That's going to be a free kick going Tacoma's way. And again, just for those maybe looking at the socks of Tacoma and thinking, well, that surely's Minnesota, right? It's not. That's the Tacoma kits for today's match. Minnesota are in black, just to clear that up. Once in a while, do you see a color clash like that between the clubs? But I can assure you Tacoma are in their road whites, and this is controlled initially and then sent back by Blake Bowen. It's Avadise who told us how happy he is to get Blake Bowen some minutes once again for this Tacoma group. Got a 4-1 defeat against Portland. That rarely happens for Tacoma nowadays, but Avadise did mention, you know, some of the trials and tribulations just getting to the stadium at Providence Park. Said they were in the bus for a really long time, lots of traffic, and by the time they got there, they didn't really have any chance to warm up and had to rush through the pregame festivities, and that hurt them in the first half, Avadise told us, but said no excuses, it's a learning experience for us, and said they did rebound better in the second half, but the damage had already been done, and Portland ran them ragged in the first 45. Ended up being enough for the 3 points. Now then, a chance here. Brunel to the near side. Di Rosario. Brunel trying to return the favor into the penalty area. Sebastian Gomez is dispossessed. And in the end, it's going to be a Minnesota goal kick after it was covered up at the back rather nicely by Maurice Duggan. Now, Di Rosario, Gomez, Sukanome, Batache, some of those attacking threats that are going to be important today for Tacoma Defiance. And again, with Seattle still in the Open Cup, Avadise's groups had to mix and match a little bit over these last couple of weeks. For those that haven't been keeping track, Seattle play Phoenix in the midweek. This could fall for an opportunity here for Tacoma inside the penalty area. Penalty shouts ring out. Referee has a look, but no penalty given. Outside of the boot ball from Patrick Weah down the near side. Alejandro Bran assesses his options. Overlapping run comes in from Finn McRobb. Did that maybe touch off the arm of Blake Bowen? No is the answer. At least not to a point of being a handball, and Tacoma clears. Again, just a quick reminder, both coaches were not going to waste any time today. Both wanted to be aggressive, both wanted to attack the other in the early stages. Avadise said we're going to go back to what we do best, and that's go after our opponents. And again, Minnesota said the same. And it's led to an exciting opening 5 minutes. Both teams not messing around. McRobb down the near side. Randall nearly scored inside of 20 seconds. Sees the ball go out of play for a Minnesota throw. Braun, good turn. Decent shot! And it's parried over the top by Jacob Castro. It's a corner. Now this was moving a little bit. Alejandro Braun saw an opening. It was bending ever so slightly right to left. But in the end, Castro well positioned, concedes the corner. First set piece opportunity here for Minnesota. Ball is bent in. It's going to go over everybody's head. Chased down by Fisher. And Fisher gets chased down by multiple Tacoma challenges, but stays with it. Braun again inside the penalty area. Lays it off Valentin, who's been a critical cog for Jeremy Hall's bunch. And in the end, It's going to be a refresh, and O'Driscoll, he's dropped. It's a free kick for Minnesota United. Braun tries again. It is going to be headed towards goal, but it's going to go wide. And Blake Bowen shepherds it out for a goal kick. Well, a very vibrant start for both teams. Tacoma had a penalty shout at one end. And at the other end, Minnesota forcing a save out of Castro, and frankly could have scored even earlier than that. And they still might. Here's another chance here. It's played through. It's just underneath the boot of Weah, and it's going to roll out of play. Well, it was a wonderful little incisive pass, delicately weighted to try to find Patrick Weah, who has scored 3 times already for Minnesota in the league this season. Any touch on it, and he likely would have been in one-on-one with Castro, with not much between him and the goalkeeper. Talked about this a little bit earlier. Last time these two met, you have to go back to August 25th of last season. It was a 6-goal thriller. Tacoma winning at Minnesota by 4-2. And if the early 8 minutes of this game are any indication, we could be down a similar path. That's going to be touched out of play on the near side. Good cover by Antino Lopez. It stays with Minnesota. Quick, incisive passing, but then Braun a little too overzealous. Free kick for Tacoma on the back end. Here is Frank DeRoma out to the far side. One of the players who Arvidise said this squad is going to be leaning on today to make an impact, along with this man, Faisal Batache, who's had a good start to the season as well. Team leading 4 goals and 3 assists. His pass is cut out that time, one back by Cage Romanchin Jr., but Minnesota doesn't keep it for long. And neither does Tacoma, but quickly going back and forth in possession. O'Driscoll stinging a wonderful pass up ahead. Chance for Randall to run onto this, and he keeps it in for Minnesota. But Randall can't get past a wonderful challenge. One-on-one from Blake Bowen. Does brilliantly well, the defender on the near side. And actually, there's going to be a free kick in the build-up. I guess Randall in the end was deemed to be in an offside position. Well, Blake Bowen wasn't to know that, and did ever so well to put out the fire. Castro sends the ball ahead. Valentin on the case, and a possible head injury. He's going to stop the play. Victor Eriksson getting involved with Osaze Di Rosario. I think both players were a little bit slow there to continue. Shared a handshake between them. And both players are going to be evaluated here, it looks like. Now, at least Di Rosario is. He's come off to the near side. Now Eriksson follows. Good spot. All right, Elvis Osmanovic, our head official today, here in Blaine, Minnesota. And all those two players are getting set to come back on. And they come back on together. It's back to 11v11 as Minnesota gets the play back underway. And Minnesota 12th in the West coming into Sunday's proceedings. They do have a chance to move up the table if they can get 3 points in the 90 minutes. Similar thing for Tacoma, 6th place in the West, chance to move up to 5th. If they could win, and Ventura County can't match the result in the later game tonight. Aguilar was forced back, spinning to try to turn into space. On that far side was Romanchin. He's fouled. Of course, New England and Philadelphia have also kicked off. Part of a jam-packed day of Next Pro action. We'll see Red Bull and Cincinnati later. Part of a 5-game late afternoon into the night session for Next Pro. See Carolina Core at Miami, Colorado Vancouver, the town against LAFC. And then we talked about Ventura County. They play Real Monarchs in the 8 p.m. Eastern time frame. Pressure from Batache. It's all the way back for Clint Irwin, who's been critical to Minnesota's recent success, in particular the win over Ventura County. DeRoma forced back to Castro. Big thing when Jeremy Hall was reflecting on that game. Again, it was Jeremy Hall's first win as head coach, which he was really pleased about. Said he was happy to have it be a home game in front of friends, family, and supporters, and he was thrilled to get that over the line and get Minnesota a critical victory, just their second of the campaign. But he said we've been giving away goals too easily. He said he loved the fact that we were able to keep a clean sheet along the way as well. And of course the persistence from the group to stay with it until the end, and Loic Massanvi did the rest in stoppage time. Ball's floated into the middle. That was a chance for Minnesota. It's cleared, but not definitively. McRobb back into the middle. That was another chance. Headed by Duggan to keep the possession alive for the hosts. Valentine, nice refresh. McRobb, nowhere to go on the near side. Erickson tried to thread it through for Weah, and then DeRoma is fouled. Free kick Tacoma. Nice pressure here from Randall. Stops the pass going ahead from Snyder Brunel. Is going to get another chance here. Tries to find Di Rosario, and it's cut out by Duggan. And then Brunel following up. He's going to concede a free kick. This portion of the match is brought to you by Allina Health, an altogether better kind of healthcare. Learn more at allinahealth.org. Weah harried on this near side. Again, Bowen doing very well at the concession of a throw. McRobb. Randall, I think he sees the ball come back off him, or does he? No, it's going to be a corner on this near side. Looked like that did take a second touch back off of Randall, but the ball may have already, beg your pardon, may not have been out of play yet when it hit Randall on the ricochet, or maybe it was, and maybe that's why we see it be a corner here. Tough angle for the referee on that occasion, to be fair. If the ball was already out and hits Randall, it was the right decision. And from the set corner, it's headed down! Oh, and it doesn't go in! Somehow Tacoma get enough on it to keep it out. Initially, it was headed down, I believe, by Randall, and then it couldn't be touched in by Erickson. Could have maybe came off one, maybe two Tacoma defenders to keep it out. Minnesota tries again. Punched away by Castro. DeRoma tries to help it along, and then it's punched ahead for Batache. And Tacoma survive in the end, the two set pieces. First one in particular was as close of a close call as they get. Here's Brunel the other way. And Bowen trying to help out. DeRoma invited into the attack and continued his run down the near side, but Bowen in the end was not able to find him. That's going to be a foul and a free kick. Braun was being chased. And wins a set piece from Minnesota to slow things down just a tick. Valentine up ahead. Bowen wins the header. Shielded away by McRobb. McRobb took too many paces forward from where the throw-in should be taken. Tacoma get the first two heads on the throw, but Romanchin keeps the attack alive from Minnesota. Duggan. McRobb cutting it back, fizzing one in, it's blocked away. Picked back up by Valentine. Dug in once more. And he's forced back. Quick refresh of possession from Minnesota. Duggan switches the point of attack to the far side. Fisher plays it short. Romanchin. All the way back it goes for Erickson. And sort of trying to find the right place to attack here. Good patient build-up play. Valentine. Ended up almost being a little impromptu give and go. Didn't quite come off there from Minnesota. Couple of challenges, but Tacoma play their way through the press. Gomez for Batache on the far side. But Tacoma don't have the numbers and are forced to slow things down. That's been one of the big improvements for this Minnesota side, the ability to really get after things in the attack, but stay compressed, stay compact when they have to fall back into a defensive shape. It's one of the keys that Jeremy Hall talked to us about as far as those defensive improvements go. And goalkeeper comes way off of his line here, but Clint Irwin handles it extremely well. Goalkeepers in those positions have to get that exactly right. And Clint Irwin was very precise with how he read it and how he cleared it. Castro able to play his way out of the penalty area. Ball is clipped up ahead. Chance here for Tacoma. Was that handled though? Yes, it was. Free kick going the other way. After it proved to be a little too much to control. I think for Souza, it was making the run. O'Driscoll out wide for Eriksson. Braun has space to work with here for Minnesota. He's going to use it and then try to find a teammate, McRobb, on the near side. Well placed. McRobb forced to the near side, and I'll tell you what, Blake Bowen does extremely well again, one-on-one. He's been stifling Randall, and now McRobb not able to get past him. So it's a free kick for Tacoma. This portion of the match is brought to you by Allianz Life Insurance Company of North America, proud worldwide insurance partner of the International Olympic and Paralympic Committees. Arvidise was really excited to get Blake Bowen back in the fold. Not sure how long we'll see him today, but the impact he's made so far has been top class. More defending for him to do here. Weah into the middle. And it's a critical touch defensively by Antino Lopez. McRobb follows up. Bowen plays in Batache. It's a good follow-up by Duggan to step in. It'll stay with Tacoma. It's going to be Fisher on a reset. Just past the halfway point of the first half. Both teams have had big chances. But Minnesota continue to be the more persistent. Ball is played into the middle. Braun was in the area. Two good defensive challenges from Defiance, and they're going to deal with it in the end by winning a free kick. In the end, it was a brave second challenge there from Sebastian Gomez. You're going to see it here. Gets his head onto it. Although may have picked up a bit of a bruise because of it, but does the job for Tacoma and alleviates more of the Minnesota United pressure that's continued to mount as the half has moved along. It's literally been on Tacoma for almost the first seconds of the match. Fisher. That'll be a reset for Valentine. Another good start to the match for him as well. A leader who's really emerged from Minnesota. Randall was the target. It's going to slip past him, and it's going to go out for a goal kick. Well, of course, everyone around MLS Next Pro is excited for the Carolina Core home opener. It's going to be on June 1st, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, as they're going to take on Huntsville City. It's only on the MLS Season Pass. We're thrilled to see the other independent club come in, get their big moment in the sunshine. And what a way to start out the June fixtures in MLS Next Pro. It's going to be really great to see. Of course, Chattanooga had a wonderful home opener back in match week 1. Another chance here from Minnesota. It's good skill into the penalty area from Randall, but one too many challenges, and Castro's there. Fights through a little bit of hand play with Weah, who was making life a bit difficult for him, but now he's able to reset. That's something that Patrick Weah is going to have to be a bit careful there. That kind of contact with the goalkeeper can get you into some trouble. And a collision here between McRobb and Batache sees both players down in a heap. Castro's clearance. And both players got the worst of that challenge. Hope that both are all right. McRobb is back up onto his feet, and so too now Batache. Both players key cogs for their respective groups for different reasons, of course. Finn McRobb so critical in a defensive and, as you've seen at times in this half, attacking standpoint as well, as that's a rash challenge that comes in from Di Rosario. And he's going to be booked for the coming together. One of these challenges that frankly didn't really need to be made, frankly, from a Tacoma point of view. Sebastian Gomez was already on the scene. Oh, and there's going to be a second yellow card that comes out as well. Didn't quite see who that was directed to. We'll await confirmation on that. Obviously was not Di Rosario. We'd be having a different conversation. Di Rosario with just the one. We've just been told it's Frank DeRoma for descent on the back end of that sequence. So 2 Tacoma players booked in the same sequence. And I believe, bottom of your screen, if you just see them poking through, it's Arvidise having a word with the 4th official, it looks like, to clarify what happened in that situation. Nice bending ball by McRobb. Braun could not get a touch on it from Minnesota, and the attack fizzles out. Castro's outlet to Aguilar. More good Minnesota pressure. Duggan gets in there first. Valentin has to battle with Di Rosario, and he wins that battle. McRobb up ahead. Trying to play in Weah. Castro gets there first. And Minnesota will settle for a throw. That's good sweeper-keeper play. And Weah, did he maybe throw Brunel to the ground there? There was a brief appeal from Tacoma. Looks like it's just going to be back out for a Minnesota throw. Ends up being rather clever from Weah. He was beaten there, but keeps Minnesota in possession. McRobb's throw is inaccurate. Valentin reshuffles the cards. Irwin up ahead. McRobb got ahead to it. Bowen again is on the case. Batache, tight quarters. Able to dribble himself out of trouble and find Castro. Lopez for Castro. Aguilar, pressured by Weah. Di Rosario just trying to head it into the path of Gomez. He's able to do so. And then Gomez is brought down. Free kick. This portion of the match is brought to you by Bell Bank. Switch and see how banking should be. Early cross into the penalty area here. Di Rosario keeps the ball alive, and the shot is in! Tacoma land the first blow. It's finished off by Sokanome. Now Minnesota did not deal with the ball as it bounced in. Di Rosario's hold-up play was brilliant. And Sokanome slides it past Irwin to give Tacoma Defiance the edge. Irwin, you could see his reaction, just too late to react. He gets a touch on it, but not enough to keep it out. Sokanome scores his joint leading 4th Tacoma goal of the regular season. And Defiance, against the run of play, it must be said, have the advantage. Maybe not the prettiest goal Tacoma has scored this season, but just as effective. And Minnesota, who were showing some great defensive improvements, in the end falter. A couple of individual mistakes there. Jeremy Hall had talked to us about that in the build-up to this game, is something they had started to improve on, but not enough reaction as the ball just dropped into the penalty area. Di Rosario did so well for Tacoma, and Sokanome did the rest. Gomez leads Tacoma into the attack once more. Good recovery challenge from Rory O'Driscoll, who's slow to get up. It'll stay with the visitors. Now two of the main attacking options for Tacoma, right at the heart of it. Di Rosario just so clever. Used the space that was allowed for him to get in there. Kept it alive where Minnesota had a chance to clear it. And Sokanome did the rest. And you saw in the replay, maybe Clint Irwin thought he could have done a little bit better with the shot, but Sokanome took it quickly, and Clint Irwin got a piece, but wasn't quick enough to parry it out of harm's way. Well, the first goal has arrived. We'll see how it impacts a match that's been filled with big opportunities, especially in the opening 20 minutes. That's going to go out for a throw. Maybe a little touch of the ball down the line by Antino Lopez, and he's going to be booked for that. It is starting to be, well, I keep saying starting. It really has been being cracked down on for quite some time now, especially this season. Players now, when they time waste, when they kick the ball away, referees almost automatically now are going to brandish a yellow. Something that teams in all leagues really are going to have to start adjusting to if they haven't already. Those kind of things can really add up. As McRobb nearly found a gap inside the penalty area, but Tacoma have the answer. Batache wins a throw-in for Tacoma. Didn't have much to do there, but little flick. And he keeps his side with the ball. Wild clearance from Batache. Good follow-up by Aguilar. Did Fisher handle that? Couple of cries for handball. We play on. With Minnesota in possession, it's quickly thrown ahead for Randall. Randall for Weah, who helps it on for the arriving McRobb, and it's touched into the path of Castro, who's able to make the save. Such a tough bouncing ball for McRobb to try to hit. He did the right thing, just tried to delicately place it and put it on target, but there wasn't enough in the shot. And now Tacoma have a chance at the other end, but Sebastian Gomez was caught offside. Back and forth we go. Big chances at both ends. If Gomez had stayed on side, he was in there. After McRobb just couldn't quite put enough on it, despite putting the ball on target. It was a lovely little flick by Weah. He could see that McRobb was arriving. And McRobb did well to get a touch on it. It was a tough ball to control, but not enough to trouble Jacob Castro in the end. McRobb might get a second opportunity here. Good control. Trying to deal with Blake Bowen. Duggan for Bran. Valentine spreads the love out to the far side. Chance to cross this into the middle. Oh, it's a free header and it's an equalizer! Patrick Weah ties things up after being left unmarked inside the penalty area. And Minnesota are back on terms. It's 1-1. Patrick Weah's team leading, 4th goal of the season. Randall was double teamed, and they left Weah wide open inside the penalty area. Tacoma punished for doing so, and Weah equalizes for Minnesota. Oh, great response from Jeremy Hall's group. They did not take their foot off the gas at all, and they are rewarded for doing so. Now, Patrick Weah has been a player, and we talked with Jeremy Hall about this in the build-up to this match. Said that Patrick Weah has been a little heavy-legged. He's dealt with some ups and downs as the offside flag goes up here against Randall, but he said Patrick's been in a great run of form. He's gotten past a difficult situation. We try to help him every day, and he's starting to be rewarded, Jeremy Hall told us, for his hard work and his perseverance. Well, case and point on that headed equalizer. And Minnesota, who at times this season have been trying to kind of build that backbone, that ability to recover from tough spots, well, they conceded when they had all the momentum, but they've been able to grab it back with just over 5 minutes left in the half. Now Minnesota will get a set piece here to potentially try to turn things on their head in the first half. Alejandro Brown was going to step up. He will take the free kick. Brand pings one in. Oh, he was trying to find Eriksson, who was going to at least leap the highest. Not that far post, but it went over his head. Right idea there from Alejandro Brown. You can see exactly where he was trying to put that, and Eriksson was available. Just too much on it. Duggan sees it come off the arm of Batache. Minnesota quickly get on with proceedings. Valentine, oh, he tried to find Weah. It was nearly a picture-perfect pass. Gomez fought off the ball by Romanchin. DeRoma now for Batache. Back for Gomez. And Gomez's ball is a little too firm in the end. going to be last off of Darius Randall. It's going to be a throw. Is there time for someone to maybe take a lead here into the halftime interval? Finn McRobb down the line for Weah. And Weah was beaten to that. It's still going to be with Minnesota. Play is going to be stopped as Tacoma player is down holding his head. Another look. It's great pace to catch up with Weah here, and then I think Weah rolled over the top of Antino Lopez, who's now back up onto his feet. McRobb from the throw. Nice turn by O'Driscoll. And who was that last off of? It's going to be a corner, yes, last off of Tacoma. Well, something out of nothing there for Minnesota. O'Driscoll didn't have too much to aim at inside the penalty area. And he gives his team a set-piece opportunity to, well, find someone to aim for inside the 18-yard box. From the corner, it's right at goal and right at Castro. That leaves us with just 2 minutes plus stoppage time left in the half. A really fun and enthralling half, it must be said. Chances galore and a goal each. Free kick for the Defiance, just in front of the Minnesota technical area. DeRoma. You could see where he was trying to aim it. Valentin was there. DeRoma follows up, and it could be a chance here, but Batache, who was available in an offside position, and Clint Irwin controls. Good challenge there on Gomez by Pedro Manchin Jr. DeRoma played square by Bowen for Batache. Oh, Souza thought about lining that up. Ooh, it was a chance to find Batache in the center of the penalty area, but O'Driscoll snuffs it out. Then a poor touch by Weah. Allowed Tacoma to get it back, but Weah wins it back. We're into 2 added minutes at the end of the half. Randall shoots! In the end, Castro recovers to save. He tried to get Castro leaning to his left and then send it back to his right, but Castro did really well to stay positioned in the middle of the goal to be ready for either option and made a comfortable save. Arvadise tries to get Tacoma on their way. Just over a minute left in the half. One back by Bowen. Bowen tries to find Di Rosario, tries to muscle his way in behind. But Valentin and Irwin do enough to stop him. Eriksson was forced back there, but recovers well. Is there enough time for one more opportunity? Bowen blocked. McRobb wins it back from Minnesota. Maybe a chance to break. Played up ahead for Weah. Could fall for Weah again. It does. He controls it well. Finds Randall. Randall through the legs of Bowen for McRobb. Randall gets it back. Weah. Randall. Final seconds here of the half. O'Driscoll. Fisher keeps it alive. Brannon support. Brannon to the middle looking for Randall, who was arriving. It's cleared away, but only as far as McRobb. McRobb back into the middle. It's headed back into the middle a second time, and it's cleared away by Aguilar. And there's not going to be enough time left to continue a frantic end to the first half. Well, back and forth we go here in Blaine, Minnesota. Really thrilling and enthralling first half of MLS Next Pro play. Tacoma had the lead, but Minnesota, who've had the better of the half, have been able to respond. And our score at the half is Minnesota 1, Tacoma 1. Coming up, Philly breaks the hometown signing record and much more. All of that is coming up after the break.
Messi! Really, really sweet. Ahí está el centro. Gol. Maxi Mesa para pegarle. Maxi le pegó. Huerta al frente. Servicio. It's saved by Carlos Corner. Con autoridad el centro. A la izquierda en las afueras del área. Le pega. Golazo. Externa va a definir Chicho.
Welcome back to Blaine, Minnesota, everybody. Our halftime score is Minnesota United 1, Tacoma Defiance 1. Really good half of play so far. We're excited to see what happens in the upcoming second half. But in the meantime, big news out of Philadelphia and a milestone goal scored last week. Michel Montaigne has more in this edition of The Report. Lockus tries again! Oh my! Shot! Beautiful!
The report is coming to you this week from the city of brotherly love, where we've got a lot to love so far about this season and so much more to look forward to. I'm Michel Montaigne, and while I'm sad to not be joining you actually in Philly, I'm happy to be with you at the midpoint in May, but probably not as happy as Philadelphia Union is to have signed Kevin Sullivan to the largest homegrown contract in the history of Major League Soccer. The 14-year-old phenom signed a deal with his hometown club and will get to play alongside his older brother Quinn as he continues to develop. So far, Sullivan has appeared in 2 MLS Next Pro matches, recording an assist in just his first 34 minutes of play. Now, being from Philly, Sullivan says there's no other place he would have wanted to start his professional career.
To start off, the Union means almost everything to me. It's my club. Watching Quinn like on the sidelines of his games, and I've just been in and around the club since I was a little kid. So yeah, this is my home, and it's an honor to sign here for my first professional contract. But it means a lot that they see the talent in me at such a young age, and I wanna prove myself and work for this club and this city, all these fans. So yeah.
While young, Sullivan wasn't the youngest MLS signing. A couple other 14-year-olds beat him to it by a number of just days. On his 14th birthday, Maximo Carrizo became the youngest after signing with New York City FC. Axel Kai is the second youngest, while Freddie Adu and Emmanuel Ochoa both beat out Cavan, all just technically 14 years old. Sullivan is one of many young academy players who have debuted in MLS Next Pro ahead of signing a first-team contract. In this league of opportunities, so many young players have taken advantage of theirs. That includes two from Crown Legacy FC. Aaron John and his teammate Jonathan Nianjo both scored goals for the side. In fact, 7 total academy players contributed goals for their respective clubs across the match week. Christian Diaz got on the board for Carolina Core. Out west, Aiden Hazarkani, Makai Joyner, and Colorado's Noah Strelnauer all found the back of the net. FC Cincinnati 2's Stefan Chirilla scored the lone goal in the first heck is plausible match of the year. And speaking of that guy, he not only notched his first goal of the season, but it was also the 2,500th goal in MLS Next Pro history. A milestone moment for Chirilla and the league. And speaking of milestones, it seems like a good time to look back on a couple of the players who have made them along the way. Eduardo Blancas notched the 500th in the Young League's history back on July 10th in our very first season. Another academy player, David Vasquez, hit the century mark in Union 2's win over Fire 2 in April of 2023. And it's no surprise that a name like Remy Cabral is in the history books, the forward notching the 2,000th goal in a Rapids 2 win over North Texas SC, all adding up to give Chirilla our number 2,500. And while we've got goals on the brain, including 2 golazos from this past match week from the Town FC's Eduardo Blancas and from New York City FC2's Jonathan Jimenez, we're going to take a look back at some of the best goals so far through 2024. These are the top 3 goals as voted on by the fans through the 2024 season. In match week 3, Austin FC's CJ Foldry received a whopping 86.4% of the votes on social media with his game winner. In match week 8, City 2's Juan Kazane also received over 80% of the vote for his left-footed curler. And to round out the top 3 vote getters is none other than Omari Glasgow, who in the first match week of the season garnered 59% of the vote. And while Carolina Core didn't make the list of best goals so far, they did have one of their best moments in club history with notching their first win. The independent side took a 2-1 victory over Atlanta United 2 despite going down a man to get their first win in MLS Next Pro. Of course, it's also their first road victory as they opened the season with 9 straight away. We're getting closer to their home opener. They've got just 2 more on the road before their June 1st home opener. They will play Huntsville City FC in front of their home fans for the first time in just a matter of days at this point. The meaningful wins continued out west. Whitecaps FC2 not only got their first on the road, they also got arguably the biggest upset win so far this season. They went to Los Angeles and took down the top-ranked team in the league, LAFC2, on the road. In a high-scoring affair, Whitecaps 2 took this one 4-3, with the game winner coming from Jay Herdman getting his first goal of the season in stoppage time, and deservedly so his first man of the match honor. Post-game, he discussed just how much this win meant to them.
It was a big 3 points away from home. We knew LA was a dangerous team. I think they were top of the table. So I think coming away from home against a strong LA side was a real big confidence booster for the team, and I think it shows the league what we're capable of as a team.
And while LAFC2 has been on top, independent side Chattanooga FC is gaining some momentum of their own. In March, CFC began their MLS Next Pro campaign unbeaten. In April, they brought home Team of the Month, and May has also gotten off to a pretty solid start. Unfortunately for Chattanooga FC, the team they were scheduled to face next Crown Legacy FC has been on a pretty good run of their own. And the team from Charlotte ended up with a convincing 4-1 triumph over one of the top MLS Next Pro teams, Chattanooga FC, in North Carolina. Jose Tavares' side has been one of the best teams at home, and after the match was asked if he thinks this victory will help them continue to build upon this momentum.
We understand that we start the season trying to find our place and try to have the players on the same page, and we believe that now from the last games we are getting to a better knowledge, to a better understanding, to a better balance between the different learnings, the different speeds and the different profiles and the different talents that we have here. So we believe that we are in a good moment, and we are showing that on the field. The results are just part of the process.
Despite the unfavorable result, Chattanooga FC had managed to generate significant impact in MLS Next Pro, enough so that they climbed to the top of the power rankings for the first time this season. LAFC2 slides down into the second spot. St. Louis City 2 reaches their highest ranking of the season so far at 3. Ventura County and Sporting Kansas City 2 round out the top 5. And while you can see the rest of the list here, you can check out all the moves and rationale on our website at MLSNextPro.com. I'm Michelle Montaigne. Until I see you again, enjoy the games.
Vamos, dale pues, mamá ya, muévete más loco como solo tú sabes. Así es, con las manos en la cabeza, sacúdete, sacúdete, mira, sacúdete.
All right, MLS store, I need something fresh and clean. Let's see what you got. I need that in my size. It's not like this. Cream on cream? The fit is cold. I'm ice cream. You like that?
Sean St. Jacques back here with you, moments away from the start of the second half in Blaine, Minnesota. 1 goal apiece between Minnesota United and Tacoma Defiance. And let's take you back through the first half. It was really exciting from the opening seconds. This happened inside of 20 seconds of the match. A chance for Randall to score after he picked the pocket of Brian Aguilar, not able to hit the target. Alejandro Braun, not too far after that, forcing a save out of Jacob Castro. And then big opportunity here from Minnesota, just not able to get a touch from Erickson to get it over the line. Then here, a ball played up into the air. Lovely hold-up play by Di Rosario. Great finish from Yu Sukanome to give Tacoma the lead, just sliding it past Irwin. And then a free header from Patrick Weah to give Minnesota a leveler. And then at the end of the first half, more opportunity, especially for Minnesota. Randall trying to find the back of the net, forces the save in the end out of Jacob Castro. But Sukanome's opener canceled out by the Weah equalizer, and that's where we stand with 45 minutes to go here in Minnesota. Halftime match stats look like this. Shots on target and shots in general heavily favoring Minnesota. They've been the better of the two teams, but Tacoma finding a way to score against that run of play has allowed them to keep them right in the thick of it with a chance to still pick up 3 valuable points for one of these two teams today. Scores from around match week 10. in MLS Next Pro. That 7-goal thriller from Wednesday saw Crew 2 beat Orlando City B, Crown Legacy convincing over Chattanooga. 2-2 between the champs and Sporting KC2, but Austin winning it on penalties. And then how about Atlanta and North Texas both winning yesterday? North Texas was just knocked from the ranks of the unbeaten. They bounced back to take out Timbers 2 yesterday. So we're just about ready to go at the start of the second half. Again, the only other live game going on at the moment, it is New England 0, Philadelphia 0. And then again, after this 3 p.m. window concludes, there's still 5 more MLS Next Pro games to take you through the rest of this Sunday night. In the meantime, it does look like Tacoma is going to make a change. We were told that Blake Bowen was not 90 minutes match fit. He has a great first half, but his day is done. And Gallatin Sandez of the Academy is going to come on in the second half. Doesn't look like there's going to be any changes, at least not at the moment, from Minnesota. So just the one alteration for Arvadice's group. And we will see how that impacts the second half. Tough to see Blake Bowen go from a Tacoma point of view. He played really well, but he's still trying to get back to full match fitness. So Arvadice, of course, managing his minutes. Both of the goal scorers from the first half are now the joint or altogether leading goal scorers for their respective clubs. Weah for Minnesota, Sukanome for Tacoma. And we're hoping, at least from a neutral point of view, that it's more of the same. Excitement in the second half. We had a really fun first 45 minutes. We'll see if the second half can match here in Blaine, Minnesota. Team switch sides, and Minnesota will be attacking from left to right in half number 2. Jean St. Jacques, our entire crew, thrilled to have you with us on a Sunday afternoon in Blaine, Minnesota. Really fun day expected in MLS Next Pro. This half certainly expects a lot after a great first half. And Batache immediately trying to catch Clint Irwin off of his line. Didn't get the shot right, and Minnesota gets right back in possession where they enjoyed most of the first half. Certainly Jeremy Hall's message came across, trying to go right after Tacoma. Tacoma, to be fair, got the first goal, but Minnesota responded, and really for a vast majority of the half were on top of Tacoma Defiance. As you see there, the confirmation of that one alteration from Arvadice. It's going to ricochet off of Frank DeRoma, who begins the second half on a yellow card, as is his teammate Antino Lopez. So that's worth mentioning in the second 45. No one has yet to be booked for Minnesota United FC2. Weah does nicely, keeps the ball in for Randall on the near side. Randall fights off a challenge, gets it back into Weah's path. Brand for Randall! Oh, and it's a great save from Jacob Castro, who came off his line just in the nick of time. The delicate interplay there from Minnesota was exquisite, but Jacob Castro is able to stifle it. Again, Patrick Weah at the heart of it for Jeremy Hall's group. Braun again. Curling it into the penalty area. Weah trying to fight his way through. He thought he was fouled. Tacoma thought he was play acting a bit. It's Castro who controls. And Sandez gets his first real touches, clears the ball away. Has to get back onto it, though, because Minnesota continue to heap the pressure on the Defiance here. Souza scampers past a challenge. DeRoma bends it out to the far side. Chance here maybe for Lopez, who flares it out again. Brunel. A reverse pass. Flag stays down on the far side. Brunel instead recycles for Tacoma. Sent back ahead by Lopez. Batache works his way into the penalty area. It was good skill initially, and it still had a chance to be an opportunity there for Tacoma, but the pass back across was well behind Sebastian Gomez. Fisher. Bran. And he'll be slowed down just a touch by O'Driscoll. High intensity throughout the entirety of the match, really. There have not been many slow spells, as O'Driscoll is bundled over by Di Rosario, who's also on a yellow card. Should have mentioned that earlier. There's 3 Tacoma players on yellows. Lopez, DeRoma, and Di Rosario all have to be careful. Ball that was in looking for Randall. Nice feet from Weah. He tries to find the penalty there. Referee shrugs his shoulders, says nothing doing. Good play initially there, though, from Weah and from Randall, just to get him on the ball. But Tacoma do enough defensively. Bran tries to play a ball forward. It's cut out by DeRoma. Erickson resets. Valentin sprays it out to the far side, but again, Tacoma haven't covered. Here's Snyder Brunel. Sent ahead by Batache, but he can't find Gomez. And Irwin recycles from Minnesota United. Looks like there has been a goal in the other live game going on at the moment. Philadelphia have the lead against New England Revolution 2. We'll see if Marlon LeBlanc's boys can keep it up. They've had a tremendous start to the season. Certainly going to be a factor again, as they always tend to be in that Eastern Conference. Free kick here for Minnesota. It's taken quickly. Duggan across. It's headed high, and it's headed over the top by Britton Fisher. Minnesota pretty much had the numbers advantage as well. Fisher tried to give Minnesota their first lead of the day. Not quite able to keep it down. Outside of the boot pass from Batache is accurate. Brunel runs onto it. And there's space here on the far side, I should say the near side, for Travion Souza. Batache. Souza could not keep it in. And it's a goal kick as Di Rosario was getting ready to turn, either try to pass or shoot. Well, again, there was space available for Souza to run into if Batache could pick out the right pass. And to be fair to him, he put it in the right spot, just put a little too much on it, and it rolled out of play.
Not that level, don't get me wrong.
It's Eric Valentin. To start a new set of possession here from Minnesota. But Souza stifles it. And it'll be a refresh through Erickson. Remember, there were 6 goals in this fixture a season ago, back in August 2023. Been 2 in this one, but there's been the threat of many, many more, especially from Minnesota. To be fair, Tacoma have had a couple other opportunities aside from the goal as well. There's no question about that. But Minnesota been on top. Can they make that advantage count is the question. Of course, we saw in that Timbers 2 game, Tacoma were much better in the second half than they were in the first half. Arfadise talked about all the hurdles they had to jump through just to get to the venue and warm up. It impacted their first half, but they got it right, at least a little bit more right in the second half, despite the tough first half. They're hoping that the second half today can be somewhat similar. That's a pass that's picked off here. Bran into the middle. It was nearly over everybody's head, and it's going to be cleared out for a corner by the late arriving Yu Sukanome. So a set piece upcoming from Minnesota. Rory O'Driscoll, he's going to be tasked with taking this corner kick. Minnesota's done well in the aerial duels at times in this match today. And they win the header again on this occasion, but it's sent wide by Eriksson. It hit off a Tacoma player last. It's out for another corner. Now another look, it's a clever header by Victor Eriksson, just couldn't quite redirect it because of the Tacoma defense. Second try, Fisher again, beg your pardon, Eriksson got his head to it, but it was a looping header, and Jacob Castro is there for Tacoma Defiance. McRobb steps in, and it's going to go out for a Tacoma throw. This portion of the match is brought to you by Allina Health. An altogether better kind of healthcare. Learn more at allinahealth.org. That's a great challenge that comes in from Fisher. Good recovery by Souza, but it stays with Minnesota. It's been a good battle down this flank throughout the match. Souza and Fisher bringing out the best out of each other. Here's Duggan. Duggan's ball in. It was dangerous. It's going to fall for Fisher. Maybe a chance here for Romanchin. He finds Fisher again. Romanchin plays it centrally. Time and space for Eriksson. Duggan for McRobb. And McRobb is stopped on the far side, allowing Batache to settle things down for Tacoma Defiance. And they'll stay with Tacoma. Out for a throw. Souza misjudged the header, and Fisher wins it back. Braun over the top, and it's going to be won by Castro, and he is fouled. It's going to be a free kick as he just got there ahead of Weah. It was a heavy collision. And Tacoma, in the end, are going to be able to get themselves out of it. Another look. Looks like Castro just got there first. And got a punch onto it. 1 or 2 Tacoma, beg your pardon, Minnesota players were asking for a potential penalty there, but I didn't think that there was much in that. Just another example of the fine margins for goalkeepers in that position. They have to get that right, because the consequences, of course, could be free kicks or, in this case, a penalty. He mistimed it. That's a mistimed pass, but Minnesota quickly recollect. O'Driscoll up ahead for Braun. Valentin. Incisive ball through the middle. Romanchin. For Brown again. Minnesota thought about going through the middle. Thought better of it. Here's Duggan. Duggan lifts it into the path of Weah. Good skill from Weah. Forces a save out of Castro from a tight angle. Castro didn't know where that was going to end up. Parries it out of danger for now. O'Driscoll. For Valentin. More Minnesota buildup. Weah. He's brought down. Free kick. And an opportunity for Minnesota to come up with a chance to try to take the lead for the first time. Does look like that Brown, who could certainly hit them, and Morris Duggan are the two likely candidates. There's only going to be 3 in the wall for Tacoma. The rest are positioned for a potential ball into the penalty area, but oh, it's deflected, and it's in! Minnesota leads for the first time. Alejandro Braun via a wicked ricochet completes the Minnesota turnaround. From 1-0 down, the Loons lead it by 2-1. It hits off the wall and Castro, wrong-footed, gets nowhere near it. And it's a bit of a fortunate ricochet to say the least, but Minnesota are not gonna complain one iota about that. It's 2-1, and Minnesota has the lead for the first time today. And it looks like that is going to lead to some changes here. Julian Banks, he's going to come on, and that's going to be it for Patrick Weah.
Scoring for MNUFC2 in the 60th.
Looks like there might have been 2 changes there from Minnesota. We'll await official confirmation. Banks for Weah was 1. And the other one, I think, was Alex Smurr for Clint Irwin, a goalkeeping change.
Substitutions for MNUFC2.
So again, just to confirm, Alex Smurr for Clint Irwin, a goalkeeping swap for Minnesota. And then Julian Banks for Patrick Weah, a like-for-like change up top after a wild moment. Sees Minnesota take the lead.
Checking in number 43, Julian Banks.
What a turn of events, but to be fair, that goal has been coming. The way it happened, though, was the twist. Have to feel a little bit for Jacob Castro. Not much he could do about that wild of a deflection. Another stoppage of play is going to lead to 2 Tacoma changes for Marvadise. Schneider Brunel and Brian Aguilar are going to come out. Chris Aquino and Burke Failing are both going to come on here for the visitors to try and get Tacoma back on level terms. Again, if you're just joining us, first of all, Where have you been? You missed a heck of a game so far. Tacoma had the lead against the run of play in the first half. Minnesota equalized before halftime. They now have the lead. And they are thoroughly deserving of it, it must be said. It's exciting to see where we go from here. A lot of options on the table, especially after Tacoma have refreshed the 11 with a couple of swaps. And Minnesota also a couple of changes as well to try to get some fresh legs for Patrick Weah, who's been a little bit heavy-legged of late. Jeremy Hall was telling us about that this week. And then Irwin's done his job. Alex Smur, the normal next pro number 1, is in his place. Romanchin lays it back for Randall, who tried to spray it out to the near side. That was played ahead. And Brand resets. It's going to go back to Eriksson. "26 minutes plus stoppage time to go." And there's going to be a player down here for Tacoma Defiance, Sebastian Gomez. He's in a bit of discomfort here for the visitors. Unfortunately, that is going to be the end of the day for Sebastian Gomez. Tough to see that. One of the academy boys, Kelvin Luis Brito, is going to be the one that comes on to take his place, and that leaves Arvidise with just one available outfield player left at his disposal. Well, you hate to see that, but again, Tacoma balancing multiple fronts because Seattle are still in the Open Cup. Some of these players are getting ready for that round of 16 tie this week, and some have played in the last round. So Arvidise has had to manage that. And now this is a nice touch into the penalty area for Britton Fisher, but it's well defended by Burke Failing. It's out for a goal kick. This portion of the match is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Minnesota. You and Blue, better together. (2-1) Minnesota leads here in Blaine. Jean St. Jacques here with you, our entire crew. We've enjoyed it so far, hope you have as well. On this Sunday afternoon, match week 10 in MLS Next Pro. Ricocheted goal from Alejandro Bran has Minnesota in line for the 3 points, but it's far from over. Again, there's still 5 more Next Pro games to go as we go into the late afternoon and early evening hours. That's one back fairly by Deroma. Minnesota player down, but on we go with Brito. But Tache only takes a moment for Tacoma to get themselves level. Here's Failing. Deroma and tried to find the youngster Kelvin Luis Brito. It's a goal kick in the end. Kelvin Luis Brito, one of the youngsters from Kirkland, Washington. He's 16 years old. Hoping to make an impact for Tacoma in a little bit of an hour of need here for the Defiance, trying to avoid another loss. They certainly have time to get themselves something from the match, no question about that. Can they stop Minnesota's momentum? Rory O'Driscoll stopped on that occasion. Another reminder that Di Rosario has to be careful here, and he's getting a reminder from the referee of that. He's on a yellow card, just made another physical challenge. That might be the last warning that Jose Di Rosario gets. Still 3 players out there for Arvidise on a yellow. Nice first time ball down the near side. Romanchin into the middle. And he was not able to find Julian Banks, who was trying to muscle his way inside. But Tacoma give the ball right back. Finn McRobb. O'Driscoll. That's going to be deflected, but it's a kinder deflection this time for Tacoma, and Castro collects. Oh, Batashe, he lost out. But O'Driscoll ends up passing it back. Castro resets. And again, just a reminder, June 1st, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, only on the MLS Season Pass. It's the Carolina Core home opener. They're going to play host to Huntsville City. We're all excited to see the Carolina Core players, staff, and supporters soak in that home opening match. And again, we said this earlier, but after what Chattanooga brought to the table early in the season and continues to bring to the table, those great fans, we're excited to see what Carolina Core have up their sleeves. Now then, here comes Minnesota. Duggan. Oh, the flag goes up here against Banks, who tried to return the ball. Duggan's pass to Banks found Julian Banks, the substitute, in an offside position. Failing. Trying to leak out on the near side for Tacoma. He cuts it back, and his pass is then cut out. Souza. It's going to stay with Tacoma in front of Arvidise. Souza quickly back into the field of play. Batashe. It's a reset. Aquino for Daruma. Batashe. Daruma. Can Tacoma find a way back to parity? That's another loose pass, this time by Failing. Tacoma gets the ball back. Aquino. And it's good work from Minnesota. They force the ball all the way back to Castro. This portion of the match is brought to you by Target. Target is here for the love of the Loons. Randall for Fisher. Fisher into the middle, it's 3-0. Oh, it's brilliant play from Minnesota. Finished off by Finn McRobb. And it could be a goal that finishes off Tacoma Defiance. It's 3-1 to the Baby Loons. Oh, they just sliced and diced Tacoma's defense. It ends up being fullback to fullback. Fisher finds McRobb for his first Next Pro goal of the season. And in a game where Minnesota trailed, they now have a 2-goal cushion. Just dazzling play from Jeremy Hall's group, picking up where they left off against Ventura County. Had a bump in the road in the first half, but they have more than handled Tacoma in the second half, and frankly, throughout a vast majority of the evening. A really impressive performance this afternoon, I should say, from Minnesota United, and now, if they weren't already, they're in pole position to get the 3 points. Souza, errant pass. Now Tacoma starting to become a little bit disjointed as the match moves along. Minnesota are motoring, seemingly in every facet of the game. Batashe up ahead. Again, Minnesota all over it. Wonderful work from Romanchin. And then Randall tried to slide it past Souza. It'll stay with Tacoma. 15 minutes left. Duggan. He's going to reset. Another ball floated ahead. It falls here for Randall. Tacoma have it in possession here, but the play is going to be stopped. And one of the Minnesota youngsters is struggling here. Jeremy Hall does have 3 changes available if he has to make them here. Well, again, we caught up with both coaches, but we talked with Jeremy Hall about what's it going to take to try to keep up the good vibes after the win over Ventura County last time out. And he said, listen, we have to get off to a good start. We talked about the, trying to get after Tacoma from the beginning. But he said, it's about taking away the easy opportunities, have to be aggressive, high up the field. And that's what they've been able to do throughout the proceedings. Unfortunately, Jeremy Hall is going to have to make a change here. Gage Romanchin Jr. is going to make way. And Tamer Ibses is going to come on to replace him. Tamer Ibses is from Shakopee, Minnesota. Just 18 years of age. Comes on to try to help Minnesota finish this out. If the result holds, Minnesota for now, pending Real Monarchs later tonight, will move up a spot to 11th, grab their 3rd win of the season. More importantly, continuing that momentum. It would be, I should say, still time left, their first winning streak of the season as well. First time they've had back-to-back wins if it holds. And it would keep Tacoma in 6th, although vulnerable in 6th. And one of the reasons for that is because the Town play later on tonight. If they beat LAFC, they would jump ahead. Di Rosario tried to ride 2 challenges as he went into the penalty area. In the end, Minnesota comes out with it, but Braun handles the ball, giving it back to Tacoma Defiance. DeRoma. Is there a run left in Tacoma Defiance today? They have 11 minutes to try and save themselves something. Tacoma Defiance trying to avoid back-to-back defeats. Luis Brito. Souza let it run. Braun slides in, and it's going to be a Defiance throw. Just over 10 minutes of the 90 left. DeRoma for Souza. And then DeRoma couldn't find Souza on the return. And it's going to go out of play. Batache. DeRoma plays it back. Batache again. Ball is sent in by Batache. Edge of the penalty area failing. And the ball came up off the turf and hit Failing in the hand. It's going to be a free kick for Minnesota. Now it's becoming one of those days again for Tacoma. Ball just hasn't bounced their way a couple of times today. Of course, on the Alejandro Braun free kick, it just took a wicked ricochet and flew in past the stranded Jacob Castro. And a couple other moments like that where it feels like, well, maybe here they can build something. It's off the hand of Failing, and then it evaporates. Here's McRobb, who's already scored. This time he's held on the far side. It's good defending initially there. DeRoma comes out with it after a good challenge from Sukanome, who has scored Tacoma's only goal of the match. And then Alejandro Braun with a tactical foul. Sees yellow.
Yellow card caution issued to MNUFC2 number 25, Alejandro Braun, the 82nd.
Confirmation on the Braun booking. Again, Minnesota not able, should say Tacoma not able to play their way through. McRobb plays it back. Ibse is getting involved, the substitute. Again, we talked about how it would be back-to-back wins from Minnesota. It'd be back-to-back defeats for Tacoma Defiance. They've had a lot on their plate recently, that's worth mentioning, but Arvidise and his staff not going to make any excuses. Results will need to improve. There's no question about that. Some of the boys who have been saved and some of the boys who have played today will likely feature again when Seattle plays Phoenix in the round of 16 of the Open Cup in Tequila at Starfire. Of course, New York City FC2 playing in the Open Cup, representing MLS Next Pro. They play on Tuesday, trying to win for the third straight time over a second-tier USL Championship side. They'll play New Mexico United. Matt Pilkington's group have really put together an impressive run. Castro sends the ball ahead, helped along by Luis Brito, but he couldn't find Failing. Souza shields it out for a throw, and Arvidise is going to use his last available change. At least as far as outfield players are concerned, and actually it is his last change in general. Another academy player is coming on. Yusukanome. He's going to come off, and we are going to see Sean Brunn get some run the rest of the way. So good moments for some of these academy youngsters to get some play here. But it's potentially going to end in a losing effort for Tacoma Defiance if things don't change in the next 5 minutes. Not going to get much easier for Tacoma after this one. They still have 2 more road games, part of a 4-game road trip. After this, they go to Houston, and then on Apple TV with the MLS Season Pass, they play Ventura County, and that ends their month of action. So we will see how Arvidise and his staff handle that. Never easy, is it, in MLS Next Pro? And again, back-to-back wins potentially here for Minnesota if they finish this off. After that, their upcoming schedule, it's also pretty darn stiff. They go to Colorado Rapids 2 next, and they have 2 at home against Benny Feilhaber's SKC2, and then they take on John Gall's North Texas, 2 tough customers in the West. Coming together there, referee stops the play, and Minnesota is going to use 1 more change. Beg your pardon, their penultimate change. Randall is going to come off, and Nathan Moa is going to take his place. Minnesota has 1 change available to them left. Nathan Moa from St. Paul, Minnesota. Just turned 18 2 days ago, May 17th. So a late, belated happy birthday to him. And his late birthday present is some minutes here at the end of a potential victory. Not a bad gift from Jeremy Hall. Philadelphia, by the way, closing in on 3 points themselves at New England. They lead 3-1 as well, as that game's about to tick down into the 90th minute. Batashe. Batashe's really been giving good effort out there, trying to get Tacoma moving in the right direction. It just hasn't happened for them, and give Minnesota a lot of credit for that. They have really stepped up again, and they're about to take down another top team in the West after they dispatched Ventura County last time out in stoppage time. DeRoma. Souza up ahead for Luis Brito. Just haven't been a ton of spaces for Tacoma to play their way through as we're into the 90th minute. Told there is going to be a pretty healthy amount of stoppage time, so if Tacoma could score here, they might have time left. They're going to certainly try, as Failing bends that into the penalty area. Brunn was closest to it, but it was a little too tall for him. That maybe give Tacoma a little bit of a late spark. One goal could still change things here. Ran up ahead, Batache wins the ball back. DeRoma. Ball's played up ahead. Chance maybe for Aquino, and he's fouled. Free kick for Tacoma. Tacoma has it as we dive in to 4 added minutes at the end of this one. There's still time left here for Tacoma. Souza's ball in, a little hot to handle for Alex Smurr, who hasn't had a ton to do since being substituted on. He's able to collect. Oh, that's a late clearance. And Di Rosario blocks it and keeps it at this end. Alex Smurr a little too tardy in trying to send that upfield, so it's going to be pinned at this end. Can Tacoma find a late flurry here? Have to score the one, of course. Given a late push at it here, Tacoma Defiance. But for Minnesota, as long as they can somehow keep it in possession, that's what they've done here. It'll just be about making sure that Tacoma doesn't get any chances. As they try to cut down more of the time available to the visitors. At the whole of Minnesota's start to the season. And they got the win over Ventura County. It was a stoppage time winner. Look at this performance on the whole, especially from start to finish. Minnesota had a chance to score inside of 20 seconds. This might go down as the best performance of the season to date for Minnesota. And that is going to give Jeremy Hall and his staff a lot of confidence and a lot of hope about what this squad can do the rest of the season. And for Tacoma, it's going to be a tough couple of bumps in the road at the start of a 4-game road trip. Again, like we said earlier, doesn't get any easier in the next couple of weeks. Some of those players, again, are going to be helping the effort as far as Seattle's Open Cup run are concerned. They'll be favored to go through over the USL Championship title holders, Phoenix Rising. Meanwhile, that ball is crossed into the middle. It takes a deflection, and it's going to be a late Minnesota corner to try to finish out the last minute. There was a brief little moment there where it felt like Tacoma could have maybe made it interesting at the end. But as many minutes of this match have gone, Minnesota have been the dominant side. They've been able to stifle the strong Tacoma attack. Not easy to do. But the hosts have been up to the challenge. Batashe brought down. Alejandro Braun has to be careful there. He was on a yellow. Referee could have looked at that with a dim view. In these final seconds is Souza. He's able to get in behind. Cross into the middle is cleared away by Valentin. And it's a late Tacoma corner. One that, in the end, is likely only going to lead to, at best case scenario, a consolation. We've had the 4 added minutes. Souza sends it in. Smur makes the catch. And that's that here in Minnesota. A really, really strong performance from Minnesota United FC2. They beat Tacoma by 3-1 in what might very well go down as their best performance of the season. 3 different goal scorers along the way in a 2-goal victory over one of the best in the West. Today's man of the match is brought to you by Adidas. It's Patrick Weah, for his late first half equalizing goal and his impact at the start of the second half. It really helped Minnesota turn things around after they fell behind to an early goal from Yu Sukanome. Minnesota never looked back, and they won the game comfortably in the end by 3-1. Jeremy Hall and his staff will be smiling from ear to ear as the Minnesota youngsters really put together an impressive performance today against Tacoma Defiance. For our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast crew, I'm Sean St. Jacques. We say so long from Blaine. Our final score is Minnesota 3, Tacoma 1. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at the MLS Season Pass on Apple TV and MLSNextPro.com. Good afternoon from Minnesota.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.